man. Getting nerd chills already. Here we go. Final map here in this series. Spawning in the top right position as the blue Zerg player. One with the 7 roach rush in game number 1. And in game number 2, well, he got rolled a little bit. It is Acer's Nerchio. And spawning in the bottom left position as our red Terran player, we have from Millennium. He was a bit mad at the end of game number 1. We'll have to see after winning game 2 if he's feeling any better. It is ForGG. Star Station is the map. Of course, one of those maps with a very, very wide open third base. This is actually pretty good for both races, as Zerg players have lots of options for running in with counterattacks, lots of ling, harass, and whatnot. But Nerchio, I don't think we're going to see anything quite like game number 1 on this map, but his third base will also be equally vulnerable to outside amounts of pressure. Creep spread, of course, can help mitigate this risk. ForGG looks like he wants to go for a command center first build again, and it's kind of funny. You noticed how at the start of game 2, after he saw how upset ForGG was, Nerchio, made very, very clear to say good luck, have fun many times. And as I say that, he now finally says it. I was actually just going to point out that neither of them had said anything at the start of this game, but ForGG, after getting that win, should be feeling a lot better with this series tied 1-1. I feel like he's probably not going to wish good luck back, but we have to see what he wants to do. Nerchio is now getting up his spawning pool. And, yeah. So I feel like we're going to see probably another standard build out of ForGG, just because it's what he does. He's a mechanical player. He really likes to play very standard, and he does what works best. So Nerchio, on the other hand, might go for something aggressive. He kind of has to recognize the fact that ForGG will go 3 command center double upgrades every single game if he can. So the thing that someone like ForGG is most vulnerable to are all-ins, just because of how damn good he is the later the game goes. We saw him drop a couple of engagements pretty poorly at the start of game number 2, but with just some really strong mechanics, he was able to just put out so many units to fight. And unsurprisingly, of course, he was able to take a massive lead just with epic unit production. So Marines coming out for ForGG. He has the gas geyser, and he's going to build this bunker at a pretty conservative timing again. And actually is able to spot no gas from Nerchio. So he should be feeling pretty all right. Maybe worried again, of course, getting this bunker up in the case of those Zerglings that we saw at the start of game 2. But here's the factory. Command center is done at the natural expansion, and we do have this barracks prepared quite nicely for our Millennium player. Should be throwing up a reactor very, very soon, though, to help press forward with this. And yeah, just continuing to build these workers is ForGG. And Bunker's there to stop, but it doesn't look like Nerchio's going to be able to get in or do anything at all. So he's going to take double gas at the 5-minute mark. Not terribly unusual for aggressive play. I almost feel like he should try to go for some aggressive play just because of how strong ForGG played the late game. And there's more bases on this map for him to take, which only makes him even a scarier threat. Just droning up is Nerchio. Should be starting his Zergling speed once he gets 100 gas. If he does anything else, that'd be very, very unusual, but could potentially be powerful at the same time. Third command center is on the way, so ForGG's doing exactly what anybody would expect him to do, and that's being greedy as all hell and not really caring what his opponent is doing that much. So pumping out these Hellions now, he is going to be able to get some more scouting information. He can take care of any Zerglings that are strewn across the field. So Roach Warren, though, is going to go for Nerchio. This is a little bit more what I was expecting in this game, guys. Double evolution chamber as well, but no third hatchery is slightly unusual with a double evolution chamber. He is going to be committed to 2-base play, and with no lair started yet either. This is going to be very interesting that he would go for all of these gas geysers with no lair. he's not banking enough minerals. Roaches cost 3 times as much gas as they cost. They cost 3 times as many minerals versus their gas, so they're quite cheap in terms of gas. The fact that he's moving up to 4 geysers for this without building a baneling nest or starting zergling speed is equally interesting. It is going to be a pretty fast lair, though. So now that the roach one is done, we're going to see a lair. A couple roaches are going to be produced to help deal with these hellions, as well as just get a bit of board control back. Scan going down. ForGG is going to start cutting away at these creep tumors. We do have Widow Mine production on the way, as well as those 2 engineering bays. So ForGG, he's doing exactly what anybody thought he would have done in this game, and that's just 3 command centers, double engineering bay. But Nerchio, his lair's going to be done soon. He has the 1-1 coming in. The 1-1 roach timing, though, that's kind of picked up popularity in meta, which is just a really big roach bust. Off of usually 3 bases, but now he's going to start pumping out some more roaches. He's going to take a 3rd hatchery, and he's going to make 7 roaches. Once the lair's done, we should expect to see roach speed. Possibly, well, I guess he doesn't need a lair to build burrow, but we could see him start that at some point. One coming close to finishing up for Nerchio. He does have a good number of roaches. He's going to go for a bit of a shove here, it looks like. And in terms of the defensive setup, ForGG has 2 bunkers. He's saying, no. No, you are not going to do anything at all to me with any kind of early pressure. He has 4 Widow Mines as well. Infestation pit coming up for Nerchio, which is equally interesting. It looks like he wants to go for a very fast, possibly Roach Hydralisk Viper composition. Roach Infestor not really that popular. Was never really popular against Terran players. So ForGG not going to go mech or anything like that, but very interesting to see. And he is just doing his standard builds. He's just adding up all these racks. He's moving up to 8 barracks. He's adding on his reactor to his starport. He's getting an armory. And the way that ForGG plays, Hellions diving in though towards this 3rd base, we'll be able to pick off a drone or 2. Not bad. As long as he doesn't lose all the Hellions, he should be fine. He's keeping a tiny bit of board control, but he's going to lose 1 Hellion for 3 drones. Not that terrible. Hydralisk Den is coming in, though, as I said. And 2-2 for Nerchio. So the 1-1 is actually about 40 seconds away for ForGG. And he's not going to be terribly behind, but if Nerchio pushes right before his 2-2 finishes, he could do a lot of extra devastating damage. The roaches are going to pick off these Hellions. One getting with barely any health. Trying to scout and see what's going on, that it will not be able to. And we have Hydralisk range coming in. So be very useful, of course, for catching units, getting good trades, and also being able to put your Hydralisks behind your roaches. It looks like he might try to just go for some kind of interesting play. He's getting infestors. No pathogen glands either, which is also a little bit different. Nerchio's doing a he's playing this very interestingly. Hydralisks do lots of DPS to bioforces. Roaches do lots of just damage in general, and they're also very, very hard to kill in large number. So 13 Marines at a time, though, being produced by ForGG. He is in full macro monster mode. He has the 3rd command center landed. He is putting out a ton of resources into this economy. He has been hit by a tiny bit of a supply block. He's going to have to throw down 4 depots at once and use a supply drop. Not a bad decision at the level that ForGG plays on. You know, sacrificing a mule for 30 seconds of production where you're not building anything, almost always worth it. He's already instantly supply blocked again, even though he had 1 built. So you can just see how much production he has geared up here. And this mine line, I actually really like it. I mean, keeps him safe against run-bys, keeps him safe against attacks, and also provides just map vision. ForGG, though, going for a double drop on the right side of the map. He is heading up here. And I gotta say, though, ForGG looking pretty solid, but Nerchio is going to be able to max out now on this Roach Hydra. No hive, though. Very interesting. With the timing of the infestation pit, the fact that Nerchio has decided not to get a hive yet is very, very weird, because Vipers are just so good when you mix them with Roach Hydra. Either Blinding Cloud to push the Marines into your Roach's range, or Abduct to grab anything like Siege Tanks, grab Medivacs to pull into the Hydralisks, but Doesn't seem to be what he wants to do. 2-2 is done for Nerchio. He has a very small window where he is ahead in upgrades. He's got about 60 seconds left of that window, and he is going to push in right now with it, and this could be devastating. He has the infestors. He can fungal growth the mines, but if ForGG's mines are spread out well enough that fungals will not alone be able to shut them down. The Marines have a pretty solid arc for ForGG. Nerchio pushing in, though. The fungals clipping a lot of this spot at the same time. Drop hitting this third base. He's going to be able to pick off the roaches, possibly the hatchery. The third base for ForGG does have to be lifted. He's bringing the medevacs over here. He has a good number of mines, but very little bio. Still producing 13 Marines at a time, but for how long is he going to be able to keep this up? The roaches and hydralisks are moving in. There's just so much here for Nerchio. The forces on the third base completely unabated, but it doesn't look like ForGG is going to have enough to deal with this roach hydralisk max. There's just so many forces here, and once he's parked in the production, that's going to be it for ForGG. And possibly his tournament run. He just lost to TLO as well, so he really cannot afford to lose this, but it looks like he has. The roaches are weak, but with the hydralisks behind them, they just deal too much damage, and we could see a GG from ForGG to finish this series off. What a powerful attack from Nerchio, and you know, kind of a disappointing way to go down, especially with how this series opened up for ForGG. He's going to barely hold these units off. He's not going to give up just yet. He's moving his command centers back. He's probably going to start dropping mules again very soon, and but is he going to be able to actually stave this off? He has a good number of mines. He just doesn't. I don't think he has enough. He's moving in. He's still on top of the production. Nerchio had 146 supply. ForGG is now down to 35 supply. His drop was held off. With 3 straggling hero Marines have made it back. He's microing them to his heart's content with this 240 APM. He's trying to make a miracle happen, but sadly, that is going to be it, guys, for this series. Well played by both players, but Nerchio is going to be able to take a 2-1 win, and I would not, if I were Nerchio, take ForGG's advice of coming to say hi. So that was pretty rough, I gotta say. Pretty rough game. Well played though by both players. And it looks like we're gonna jump straight into another match here. Yeah, we're just going to jump straight into Thorzane Verdi.